But let's roll into the top four here. First one is going to be Brisbane. I was kind of worried about them, ever since they lost Hippowood, because I mean they lost their first two after losing. After he went down with that ACL injury, they got the win. Then they're still kind of shaky on that end, but they finished off the season on a high note here. And obviously, so I think it's tough because I'm going to say this for the rest of the top four teams here, but there's just something about each team that I am worried about and I'm concerned about. And there's just like something that's kind of tugging me to not tip them ultimately. Honestly, I guess maybe we'll get to it, but I wouldn't be surprised if I think I'll give you a little insight into my tipping here in my bracket. I think the grand final winner comes from one of the bottom four teams in this one. But we're going to take a look at the Brisbane Lions and why they can win the grand final this year is going to be because of guys like Zach Bailey. It's going to be the Charlie Camerons of the world, and it's going to be the fact that this team when they're on, and they can put a lot of the points on the scoreboard very very quickly. So if you lose a grip for about 5 minutes of this game, it could be over just like that. So that's what scares me about this team, similar to how they looked last season when then they finished second in the comp. They were this team that was scrappy. It was hard to really get good possessions against them, and they just put up points and won some momentum swings. But like I said, they've just been so hit or miss ever since losing Hipwood, and that really kind of worries me going to the finals here.
I can agree on that to some extent. I don't think they absolutely need Hipwood because we've seen in the last couple of weeks when
Mm-hmm.
they are on, the forward line just looks beautiful. It just
Mm-hmm.
looks ridiculous. I think when Brisbane is on, I can agree with you 100% on the earlier part that you said. When they're on, they're on. Oh, and I think to me personally, I think Brisbane has the most beautiful just ball movement of footy when it comes down to it
Yeah.
when they are on. And like you said, I'm a big fan of Zach Bailey, and he comes if he goes missing, I think they're going to be in trouble. I do think that, but when he is on, he impacts the game, no doubt. Charlie Cameron, same thing. Joe Danaher scored a goal each game, so you can book him at least having one goal. So I think that's why they could. If they don't win, I think it's because just their defensive players aren't up to form. I think Harris Andrews, he's come back from injury. We'll see how that goes. If he can come back and he can play well. Mitch Robinson too, I think, and those are two of their most important players on defense. Excuse me. So I think that'll be a big reason. Also, just if Lockie Neal continues to play, like if he played how he did at the beginning of the season and was missing, I don't think they can afford that. I think they need their whole. I think they need their whole midfield to be able to dial in with Gluggage and Lockie Neal. I think that's what it really comes down to, and Zach
Mm-hmm.
Bailey. So.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I agree. If they lose, I think it's going to be 100% because of their defense. Because I think Brisbane has the best offense in the AFL right now, and I also think they've been getting better. I think throughout the whole year, they had a really rough start to the season. I think they lost their first 4 or 5 games, but they've been progressively getting better to these last few rounds. They've been scoring in 120s, 130s.
Mm-hmm.
Their ball movement has been getting better. Their unselfishness with the ball, it's just they're the only team in the top 8 that I see that has constantly just been improving week after week after week. And I think that's going to continue into the finals. If anybody has great momentum, the best momentum, I think it's Brisbane. And I'm expecting them to keep that going through the final series.
And you guys took all the great points. For me, the way they win it is
Mm-hmm.
offense. They are incredibly difficult to stop. They score, and they score. Their midfielders kick goals. Their forwards kick goals. Their defenders kick goals. I mean, you've got Daniel Rich back there with one of the best kicks off his left boot. He can put in goals. That's dangerous. That is tough to stop. But I agree. The reason that they could lose is their defense has been suspect at times. Sometimes it's hard for them to stop teams with really good forwards. So it'd be very interesting to see their matchup with the Melbourne Demons because the Demons forward lines has been kind of suspect occasionally. So it'll really have to see how that matchup goes. And can the vaunted D's defense shut down Brisbane? So this is a Brisbane team. They get on a roll. They are incredibly difficult to stop, but they are one of those, if you can keep them down a little bit, and put up a few points, then they get weary and they kick behind. They're a very inaccurate team at times. That's what really killed them last year in the in the finals, was their inaccurate goal kicking in the preliminary finals last year, which really cost them a chance to play at home in the grand final last year.
I want to add something, because since I didn't watch last season, I'm glad you said that, because I can kind of see Charlie Cameron specifically how unselfish he's being with the ball. He's making sure he gets that extra pass for the good shot instead of just kind of rushing in. And I can see how bad they want it, how Charlie Cameron's getting mad at not good goals. Even if he scores a goal, if it's not the best percentage goal, he'll still be upset at that. And I like that in a team leader. So.
That's good
Very
stuff
well
to see
said.
from him.